y'all? My name is Vanessa Simpson, and I help rising spiritual teachers, healers, and leaders step into their power and purpose with confidence and certainty. And today in this video, it's a really free flow talk, but what's been coming up recently, which I'm working on in my course right now, is giving grieving a whole new meaning. And so, have you lost someone before? Maybe not. So, I know I have. In fact, I lost my father when I was 18 years old, 2017, and it was the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. Right next to completely losing my sense of self and having to reclaim who I am and my purpose and figure all that jazz out. That's for a different video. But losing my father was the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. Why? Because he was my best friend. And of course, I'm very blessed for that, because a lot of people perhaps aren't close with their parents, and fortunately I was, and it was extremely hard with his passing. But something really beautiful occurred within me when it happened, and in fact a year before it happened. I had a spiritual teacher come and tell me, once I asked him, like, hey man, what can I do to accelerate on my spiritual journey? And he's like, Vanessa, go through the detachment process. So I was like, what is this, for about 6 months? And then it finally dawned on me of what the detachment process is. And so what I did was I had this intuitive feeling that my father was going to pass. And I wasn't sure when, but I felt it. And so, with that being said, I mentally rehearsed in my mind him passing away. And as we know from Dr. Joe Dispenza and all of his work, is that the mind and the body do not know the difference between what is real and what is not. And so this whole imagery of my dad passing provoked massive amounts of emotion in my body, and I was a wreck. And one of my girlfriends was with me at the time. She's like, Vanessa, why are you even thinking about your dad passing? Why invoke that suffering on yourself? And lo and behold, 6 months later from there, my dad ends up passing away. And I looked the doctor in the eyes when he told me, once I got to the hospital after I got that very devastating call that took me down to my knees. I looked the doctor in the eyes. I'm like, I'm at peace with this. And I'm at peace with it because I detached myself from him physically needing to be in my life, of depending on him for my security, depending on him for giving me emotional support, him physically providing for me. And mind you, I'm 18 years old and just figuring shit out for myself, and the doctor looks at me and he's like, we've never had someone react this way after receiving this message. Usually they're, really hysterical, and I was not, of course. Then when I got into the room and actually saw him dead, that was a different story, but that's the natural process, it's okay. But from there on out, I was a changed person. And it's because I gave grieving a whole new meaning, which is why I'm making this video for you guys today, and why I'm creating this course, Pain to Purpose, how to turn grieving into a whole new meaning for you. And so, with that being said, I turned this pain, instead of keeping it with me and keeping this pain and heaviness in my heart and just longing for him and missing him, I turned this pain into a sense of power. And this is what pain allows us to do, is to turn it into power. To recreate the story of why is this happening to me, to empowerment consciousness of how is this serving me, what is this providing for me, And what my dad's death did for me is this. Before I was already into spirituality, but this really catapulted me forward into spirituality, that the way that the events lined up in my life to this point of my dad's death were just remarkable and miraculous, and I needed to get some answers. And I knew with how it all happened, it was divinely orchestrated, because it's just, how could it not be? And so with this being said, the amount of pain that I experienced was so extraneous, and just my body and everything around it. And my father ended up passing away the day before we were leaving for Maui, which, if you guys don't know, Maui is the heart chakra of the world. And so I ended up going there the next day with my fiance at the time, and we went there and spent our grieving time there. And I couldn't imagine how it could have been any better for me. What better place to spend your grieving time than in Maui, Hawaii, right? But this really allowed me the grace, once I reflected on everything that was happening, or everything that happened, and how to really help people get through this period of losing someone, whether this person is a loved one, close to a family member, a partner, an animal, perhaps even just like your own identity. I've been through that several times, of having to detach from myself and become nothing in the nothingness, and the ego doesn't like that too much. So reflecting on this, giving grieving a new meaning, that maybe, just maybe, this pain, that the experience of loss being the most transformational time, if you allow it. And people that I've talked to and clients that I've had, how long people hold on to this pain of losing someone, whether it's just a past partner and they haven't necessarily died, but they're still attached and in the subconscious, the story still hasn't been written all the way through and totally processed within the mind. So there's this continuous like loop of, well, wait, like we didn't process these emotions. And so eventually the emotions get deposited within the body. And so it's really, really important that if you've been through this type of loss, and really reflecting on how it affected you and how did you deal with it. Did you deal with it with love in a healthy way? Did it catapult you into power, that catapulted you into passion, that catapulted you into purpose? And something so tragic can be turned into something so beautiful. And this is the power of you being a creator of the divine, and divine being the creator through you. You have the ability to transform this extraneous pain into power. And this power in the purpose. This is a gift of being able to transform your feelings and your pain into something, and then let it go. That it doesn't need to stay with you. This pain body, this pain story doesn't need to stay with you. You can let go of it. And just keep the wisdom. And integrate that wisdom that's moving you forward, so then you can experience new experiences. Perhaps they might be painful, but perhaps not as painful as that one time, because of the strength that you gained and the wisdom that you integrated. Nothing. It gives you this resilience going through these times. And so if you take anything away from this message, perhaps looking at what you've gone through, your pain within grieving in general, that this maybe, just maybe, has something to do with how you can turn into a consciousness of empowerment, which therefore gives you this ability to live out this purpose. And what did you learn? What did you learn from these times of pain? Reflecting on this, a lot of people, if you haven't been on a conscious path for a long time, or perhaps you're just starting, a big thing that we do as conscious creators is reflect on our circumstances and what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? It's so important. This whole awakening is about rising out of victim consciousness into empowerment consciousness and experiencing fifth dimensional reality, which is the reality of love itself, that we can experience love as a physical reality. And how I perceive this reality is the reality of feeling, where 3D, 4D is really thinking, a lot going on within the mind. This is moving into the heart and the feeling, where the mind represents the structure of how to apply and plan and structure your life in order to get things done, this order, where now within the fifth dimension, bringing this in as within the structure. We don't just throw it out the window. We keep the structure, but we integrate and fill in the space with our heart, with feeling, with our creative energy. And so reflecting on your story and are there any parts of this story that you haven't fully integrated, that you don't fully understand? And if that's the case, totally book a call with me and my team right in the link below in the description. Here to serve you, here to help you. This is what I love doing for a living, of people rising conscious creators that want to step into their power and purpose with certainty and confidence. And sometimes we need help with that. We need help understanding of what this lesson was, because victim consciousness is so sticky. It's difficult to get out of sometimes, and time does help with this as well, so being patient with yourself. But really what I'm striving to do, and I will continue making videos about this, is turning pain into purpose, turning pain into power, and not attaching to that pain body, that pain story, just integrating it and letting it go so you can bring on new experiences. You've processed this mentally in your mind, your body has released it, you've integrated spiritually, and you're ready for the next thing. You're ready for the next thing. This is how we evolve, people. This is it. Again, my name is Vanessa Simpson. Please like and subscribe to my channel. New videos coming out every time, every week. It's kind of funny, yet it's one of those things. God hands you your destiny filled with opportunities and dreams, but yet we limit ourselves, and you might ask why. Well, it's simple. Fear, insecurities, and anything else of that degree. But just trust and have faith. It isn't anything new. Just let go, allow yourself to open, and receive all the abundance that is there for you.